Hi there, everybody. This is Miss Barbara, and I'm excited to get to be here with you to share this week's Unity Church of Austin Youth and Family Ministry lesson. We are going to keep talking today about our relationship with the earth. We're going to learn about rhythms and balances in nature, and that when we look at nature and see that there's a natural balance, like the sun and the moon, we can learn. We can learn from it. We can learn from it for our own lives. By watching and respecting nature, we can learn that we also need balance within ourselves and within our lives. So our affirmation for today is, I appreciate the balance of nature. I strive for balance in my own life. Can you say that with me 2 more times? I appreciate the balance in nature. I strive for balance in my own life. I appreciate the balance in nature. I strive for balance in my own life. So I'm going to start by saying a few words and asking you if you can come up with the opposites. Night. You have an opposite? Water. Sharp. Sun. Silence. Did you think of some opposites? One of the things that we want to take away from our lesson today is that opposites don't mean necessarily good and versus bad, right? We need all of these things. We need the moon and the sun. We need dark and light. We need a soft pillow when we want to relax and go to sleep. And we need a hard hammer when we don't when we're trying to drive a nail into something so that we can build it. We need these contrasts. And so it's something to keep in mind as we go into our story for today. Let me find our story. Our story is it's called Turtle Eggs. And I think what I'll do, I was able to find some pictures of some sea turtle hatchlings that I'm going to put up while at least for part of the time while we're reading the story. There are some. This is in Texas. These are, well, it just went away, but I believe they're Kemp's Ridley sea turtle hatchlings crawling toward the Gulf of Mexico on Padre Island National Seashore. I just thought it might be fun to have a picture of those up while we read the story. So here we go. Caroline read to her little brothers from her marine wildlife book. It says here that sea turtles live in oceans all over the world. Female sea turtles have to come on land to lay eggs, but the male sea turtles spend their whole life in the ocean. Caroline and her parents and grandparents were visiting friends in Florida during summer vacation. They had camped, enjoyed a jazz concert, and had even seen a real alligator. Tomorrow they were going to the beach to watch baby turtles hatch. That's why Caroline was reading Sea Turtle Facts. After the mother sea turtle lays her eggs in the sand, it can take 2 months before the eggs are ready to hatch, Caroline said. Her youngest brother, Sam, sat up and said, 2 months? But we leave in 2 days. Then Trevor, who was 2 years older than Sam, explained, we don't have to wait 2 months. The turtles already laid the eggs 2 months ago. Now they're ready to hatch, maybe tomorrow. Caroline sighed, well, let's hope they are. I guess there's no way to know for sure, but it would be really fun to see bunches of baby turtles heading for the ocean as fast as they can. The next day, Caroline's family and their friends did some more sightseeing, and Caroline read her book whenever she got a chance. She learned that it is safer for turtles to come out of their nests at night and that was why her parents said they would wait until after dinner to visit the Turtle Beach. Sam and Trevor packed up all of their Florida souvenirs, and Caroline got her suitcase packed as well, but she kept out the marine wildlife book. They had to leave right after breakfast the next morning, so her parents wanted everything ready. Then they took cameras, blankets, and snacks and drove to the beach. It wasn't a very long ride, but it was bedtime, and the boys fell asleep. Caroline was too excited to sleep. She looked at her book and imagined all those little baby turtles coming out of the sand. The book told her that some turtles lay more than 100 eggs in a single nest, and most turtles will lay eggs in several nests during the nesting season. That is a lot of eggs. There was a guide at the beach who led them to a place between two nesting sites. He showed them where to put their blankets and snacks, then led them to the nests. Caroline was a bit disappointed because there wasn't anything very interesting to see. A nest was just a depression in the sand, just a low spot in the sand. The eggs were buried deep below the surface. She saw an official sign next to it that said, "Sea turtle nest, do not disturb." They were going to watch both nests for hatchlings. Maybe one of them would open up any minute and baby turtles would emerge. Her parents reminded all three children that they might not see anything, even if they waited all night. Caroline couldn't stand the thought of missing her only chance at seeing real live baby sea turtles begin their life right in front of her eyes. "Do the nests get wet when the water comes in during high tide?" her mother asked the guide. He answered with wonder. "No, it's amazing that the mother turtles seem to know where the tide line is. They always dig their nests just far enough from the water to be out of danger. The eggs won't hatch under the water." Caroline and her brothers walked onto the beach and looked for shells before it got too dark to see them. Trevor found a whole sand dollar. It was strange to think that the beautiful shells Caroline treasured had once been part of a living sea animal that had died long ago. There were millions of them scattered across the shoreline. She was able to tuck a few in her pocket before the sun set, and they had to go back to the nesting site. No flashlights were allowed around the nests because the hatchlings would get confused. Luckily, the moon was full and bright. Caroline ate a banana and had a drink while the moon rose higher in the night sky. The boys ran around for a while, but eventually dropped off to sleep under a blanket. The nests were showing no signs of life. While the grown-ups talked, Caroline thought about what she had read in the book about turtle hatchlings hurrying towards the ocean waves, in danger of being eaten by predators. Young turtles are on their own from the start. The mothers don't stay around to help. Caroline felt protective of the turtles in those nests, like they were hers in some way. It was hard to wait and to be patient. She felt tense and excited and tried to relax and be calm. What if the turtles could sense her anxious energy? But in just a few hours, they would have to leave, turtles or no turtles. She didn't know what time it was, but the moon had moved across the sky when the guide quietly urged them to get closer and watch one of the nests. Her parents woke up Sam and Trevor. Everyone squinted into the darkness and held their breath. Even the boys were still. Caroline saw something moving under the sand. Within a few minutes, a miniature turtle covered in sand poked its head out of the nest, drawing itself up with its flippers. Soon it was clear that another hatchling was pushing the first one from behind. As they all watched in amazement, dozens of little turtles rose out of the sand and crawled toward the ocean waves. The water that had seemed so close before now seemed very far away. It was a long journey for a tiny turtle. Caroline didn't breathe or blink as she watched the drama. They were so small. Caroline wanted to pick one up, but the humans were not to interfere in the natural process. They were just observers in an ancient story. Caroline and her family kept watching the tiny, courageous turtles struggle toward their ocean home. As the waves picked them up and drew them in, Caroline silently cheered. She saw happy tears in her mother's eyes, and everyone was smiling and laughing as the sunrise warmed the sky. I think I have one more picture I can share with you. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, there's the turtle. So let's go through a few of these discussion questions here. Why do you think it was important for the people to just watch and not interfere? Would you stay up all night if there was a chance to see baby turtles or another animal hatch? That is pretty interesting. Would you? I think I would. I actually did get to see some sea turtles being released. I didn't get to watch them hatch. I watched them be released into the ocean a few years ago, and it was so I could really I agree with what Caroline was saying in this story about what seems like not a very far distance when you're watching little tiny turtles try to make it, brand new turtles try to make it into the ocean. It feels like they have a long way to go. But they did it, and it was a really neat experience. What are the natural rhythms? What natural rhythms did you notice in this story? One of the things I thought was really neat was the talk about the tide line, that somehow those turtles laying their eggs just know where the point is at where the water won't cross it, because if the water crosses that line, so they lay their eggs far enough from the water that that the water won't cross it, so that those eggs can hatch. Isn't that interesting? Don't you wonder how could they possibly know? And maybe that's part of the reason too that humans aren't supposed to interfere in this this turtle hatching that Caroline got to see in the story, because these animals know what to do. They just know, and our interference might just not be as helpful as we might think it would be. Right? They can handle this. So balance. Back to balance. That one of the things in the story is the timing had to be just right. They realized they might not even get to see the turtles hatch that night, right? Because it's just all about the right time for things to happen. And they got lucky. It was the right day that were going to get to see this, but also it was a particular point when the moon was a particular point in the night that it was the right time for those eggs to hatch. And you notice in the story it said that as the sun rose, they were making their way to the ocean. So timing is so important, and allowing events to unfold in the right time, and just in the time that they're meant to is important, and a really interesting part of that story. So I hope you enjoyed that story and the pictures. I did. I guess I can stop sharing the screen and come back here to you. So we talk about balance a lot. I think grown-ups talk about balance a lot. I don't know how much we talk about it, with our kiddos. We talk about work and, then also our responsibilities and our, not just responsibilities, but things that we want to do at home, spending time with our family, spending time at work, and trying to keep balance between those things. But kids need balance in their lives too. right? You have school, you have homework, you have spending time with family, you have spending time doing fun things, playing, and then also like chores and stuff you have to do. And it's a good thing to start thinking about now. How do we keep balance in our lives among all those things? Getting enough sleep, having enough time during the day to play and enjoy. Have you ever had the experience when you think maybe you didn't have the right balance in your life? I think during COVID, a lot of us have felt that way, like our lives weren't balanced in the way that we wish they were because we weren't getting enough time with other people, maybe. But I wonder if you've ever had that feeling too. I want to share one thing. I probably don't need to find the sheet of paper for it, but I want to share one thing that I find to be helpful when my body is not feeling very balanced, or when maybe I feel like I have too much energy or not enough energy for what I need to do. One of the ways that we can return to balance is to use our breath. And an easy one is to inhale and hold and exhale in equal parts. So why don't we try that together for a few rounds and see if I'd just love to hear if it makes any difference for you and your body. So if you're sitting down, if you're like sitting in a chair, put your feet on the ground. And if you're sitting on the ground, that works too. Maybe just crisscross applesauce your legs. And we'll try breathing into a count of 4. And then just letting the breath be held in gently for a count of 4. And then exhaling through our nose for a count of 4. You ready? I'll count with my fingers. Let's do a couple more times. Let's do one last time with eyes closed. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. And you can end with just taking a couple of long, deep breaths. Inhale deeply through your nose. And exhale completely. And one more time. Inhale deep. You can even raise your arms up. And exhale. Maybe try that sometime. If you're ever feeling like your body is not exactly feeling like you wish it was, or you need to focus on your schoolwork, but you're too excited, maybe try that breath and see if it helps you. It helps me. It always helps me. So, okay, we'll close our lesson. I really had fun sharing this story with you today and the pictures. I hope you enjoyed it. Let's do our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds me. The love of God enfolds me. The power of God protects me. And the presence of God watches over me. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. I hope this message finds you well. We miss you. Your Unity teachers miss you, and we're looking forward to being in the classroom with you again. And we're going to end with our blessing. We love you. We appreciate you. We behold the Christ in you. Have a wonderful week. Looking forward to seeing you all soon. Bye.